morning and welcome to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. Coach's Corner with Coach John Reutebuch of the Wawasee Warriors after last night's big win against the Goshen Redhawks. Coach, got to feel good coming off a big win like that.
It does. See the smiles on the kids' faces and the coaches' faces, and really played with a lot of energy and passion. And that's really what we've been preaching the whole time: is if you play with energy and passion, good things will happen. So it was a good time all around for us.
It was a win for not just one part of your program. Sometimes football teams win by one part really outshining the others, but you had tremendous production from your offensive unit, from your defensive unit, and from your special teams last night. All three did really well.
Absolutely. All three phases of the game came through for us last night. And when you put all those three phases together and you have good performances there, you're probably going to be pretty successful most of the time. And we had great offensive production compared to what we, have been lacking the last few games. Defense was just lights out. I mean, they were swarming all over the place, except for that very first play, which was kind of a little payback to us because we had done something like that, a halfback pass the last 2 years in a row and scored on the first play of the game. And we reminded the boys of that. The Bechtel kid is the backup quarterback, and we reminded them of that, but we're still talking about 16, 17-year-old boys that – they're still they're fired up and come up. And, the kids did a great job. It's that warrior grit. Hey, that play happened, brush it off, come back to the next play. And they did. From that point on, I feel like we pretty much dominated the game until probably late third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter when there was a little lull, but we got it back at the end of the game.
You really had a nice balance between your rushing and your passing unit on the offensive side. As I recall, you had 180 yards passing and a little more than 120 yards rushing, and a whole lot of kids, as per usual, but even more than usual, a whole lot of kids got to touch the ball last night.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Our rushing attack came alive last night, and our running backs ran hard. Don Blair and Nate Larson ran really hard. Our offensive line started 2 sophomores last night. Our center is out for contact tracing, and so Chance Flannery and Nico Ramirez both stepped up in those roles and did a great job. Chance didn't know he was going to be doing that until Wednesday's practice.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was phenomenal. That was pretty impressive. And then Parker Young, kind of a dual threat guy. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball, and then, like you said, a lot of different targets. There's a lot of different kids catching balls out there. I would imagine every receiver and our tight end all caught balls, plus our running backs. So
well, and your tight end had a touchdown last night.
Yeah,
Smith had one to put on the board. So the number of individuals who scored for you also increased. As far as a look at the whole season, the number of individuals increased last night.
Yeah, each running back got a score.
Yep.
Parker Young got a score. Zach Smith got a score. Cam Salazar got a pick-6 score and a 2-point conversion. It was spread out pretty evenly. So, that's the thing we can bring to the table. We may not have that superstar guy, but we have a lot of weapons. We have a lot of different guys that can hurt you, and sometimes that's harder to defense than one person and one aspect of the game.
Salazar's interception in the fourth quarter last night was really the final coffin in the nail, as Kaz Zina likes to say. That really put the game down. Goshen had been sort of developing some momentum earlier or prior to that point, but it was Salazar's interception and Wawasee's defensive push there late in the contest, because Goshen was in a big hole at that point. I think it was like 3rd and 19. It was significant.
Yeah.
And Wawasee's defensive warrior grit really came to play there at the very end of the contest.
Yeah, we went up 30-7, and it was late in the third quarter, and I'm not sure what we did. I think we took our foot off the gas a little bit. And you're right. They got a play or two here and there. And great respect for the coaching staff, Kyle Park and Goshen, because, the kind of season they've had, losing games to COVID issues. And then, the record, isn't as great either. And he's still got those kids playing hard, and they never gave up. And great kids and a great staff over there, and much respect to them. But they start building some momentum. They got to play here, play there, and then I feel like we started to play and not to lose, and that's not what got us to that point. And so we rallied back. And it really was a combination of the special teams pinning them back and the defense just rising up and bringing that pressure again. And Cam Salazar played that. He baited that play so well. And, a kid like that, and there's a program kid, works his tail off, gives you 100% every single time. He's coaching the other kids. He's on everything. He was a gunner on the punt team last night because he wanted to contribute more. He's playing both sides of the ball. He's on the kickoff team. He's a kickoff returner. He's our punt returner. I mean, he's Mr. Everything. And to see him get that, it's like good karma, It's just a great way to seal the win on senior night.
And what set up that interception and what set up that Goshen long their need to go long was maybe the best play of the fourth quarter from your punt team, pinning them back all the way on the 3-yard line. That's a difficult thing to do too.
Yeah, and we had one previously in the game where we pinned them on the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
When your punt unit is pulling those off, I don't care who you are. You got to drive the ball 99 yards or 97 yards. Statistics say that's going to be awful hard to do, and so that was great. And then our defense coming through and making sure they had them pinned in and hemmed up. And so, again, I can't say enough about the special teams and the defense, and then, of course, the offense. Putting 37 points on the board. We haven't seen that since the first couple weeks. And you talked about the balance, the running game and the passing game, and despite having some new faces there on the offensive line, we got it done last night, and that's good to see.
I've got a question that shows my ignorance of having never played the game. How much practice time do your special teams, like your punt team, how much practice time do they get? Because it seems to me like you've got so many kids, all right, and you've got to teach so many fundamentals, and then you've got to prepare for a particular team. I got to wonder, your kickoff team, your punt team, how much time do they actually get to prepare for their role?
That is a very insightful question. Special teams, it depends on the coach and the philosophy. I am an old special teams guy, and so we spend a lot of time on that because it's one of the 3 phases of the game, and games are won and lost in special teams, whether it's an extra point, it's punt coverage, all those things. And there's probably, in my mind, no play more exciting than a punt block and a fumble return for a touchdown, or something along the lines in special teams, a kickoff return for a touchdown. Those are electric plays that just can charge up one team and deflate another. And so we spend a lot of time on it.
What's a lot?
We spend at least 2 sessions of practice. So those are 15-minute sessions.
Okay.
One will be on, let's just say, kickoff. The other one will be on punt. Then the next day it'll be punt return, kickoff return. And then we also have a specialties period where the specialties guys work on their skill, whether it's long snapping, punting, kicking, holding, whatever that is. And so we make sure we carve out time for our special teams because we believe that's very important. That also provides some of the younger guys, the sophomores or a non-starter, junior or senior, an opportunity to get on the field. And that's one of the great things about football is you have your starters on offense, you have your starters on defense, and then you have your starters on each special team. And so there's so many opportunities for a kid to get on the field. And plus, you have 11 on the field at the same time. So there's a lot of opportunities for kids to get on the field and make a difference.
all three phases of the game went real well last night. The weather was perfect last night. Your kids came in with a fantastic attitude to the game. You could tell. Now, you could say it was senior night. I suppose that makes if you're 16, 17 years old, not old and crusty like me, I suppose that maybe has more of an emotional punch. But I don't think that could have the level of emotional punch that your kids demonstrated. Your kids showed some real down deep desire, a hunger to get into it last night.
Absolutely. I think hunger is a great word to use. There was a lot of things on the line. We talked about all week, what this game means. And senior night is a big deal for those seniors, but, maybe not as much for a sophomore or a junior that's playing in the game. Getting an NLC win, that's a motivation. Getting a trophy at the end of the game. I mean, how many times do you get that opportunity if you're not winning a sectional or a regional or state, And so we were playing for those things. We were playing for better standings in the NLC and more all-conference honorable mention picks. We're playing for pride. We're playing for getting momentum going into the sectional. There's so many things that we were playing for, and the kids got it. I mean, credit to our seniors. They probably were the catalyst for bringing that energy, and everybody else fed into that. And I think you're right. I mean, everything from the get-go felt different.
It did.
The energy was very high. Kind of the same energy I felt at the beginning of the Warsaw game.
Yes.
Kids were very hungry, very excited, and we talked about that. I mentioned that, hey, if we play like we did when we came out against Warsaw in that first half, we're going to be just fine. But we got to tap into that passion, that energy, and play that game like it's your last, because they're starting to dwindle down now, and so you never know. There's teams that didn't play last night because of COVID precautions and things like that, and we have been fortunate to play every single game this year. And there's only two teams I think in the conference that's been able to do that, and that was us in Warsaw.
The Wawasee Warriors off of a big win last night against the Goshen Redhawks. When we come back, more with Coach John Reutebuch on Coach's Corner here on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. And welcome back to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. John Reutebuch, head football coach of the Wawasee Warriors. Big win last night. Huge contest as Wawasee took out the Goshen Redhawks in preparation now for tournament play. But one of the reasons you were able to win last night, and one of the reasons Wawasee has had the success that it's had this year, you have a large number of seniors who are on your program and play such an integral role in what Wawasee football is all about.
Yeah, seniors, it's their team when it's their senior year. It's a last go around. It's the one, you get one senior year, and you want to make the most of it, and that's kind of what we've preached. And you have senior captains and senior leaders and things like that. And we have a really good senior class, and that was a great way to send them out last night with a victory.
So exactly who have you got there? I know you've got a lot of them, but it would be nice if we could just recognize each one.
Well, we have 13 seniors now that have made it through the season, and I'd like to say a little bit about each one of them and their, what they brought to the team. The first one, I'll just go in alphabetical order to make sure I don't forget anybody, but Adam Beer. Adam Beer is a first-year player, never played football before. Talked him into coming out and giving it a try, and you want to talk about the light coming on for somebody. He has not only come out and tried, he has played an integral part. He's a two-way starter. He's on most of our special teams. He gets the game. He's the kind of kid, you tell him once, you don't have to ever tell him again how to do it. And just a great student of the game, great student, great kid, works hard. Tries to get other guys up, excited, let's get this one back, that kind of thing. Can't say enough of positive things about him and his impact on our team. Tyler Bostic. Tyler went to basic training this summer. which is an unusual experience for most seniors. They don't do that normally. And we're really proud of him and what he's done. And, first game he was back, we had him carry out the American flag and present him with a little plaque from the National Guard and everything. And so we're really proud of him. And, here's a kid that has a limited role. He is a defensive lineman for the most part, and but we used him. We used him in the Warsaw game. Unfortunately, he was sick for the Mishawaka game, but we used him when we put in an extra lineman for those teams that run the ball, just strictly almost. And then we were able to get him in the game last night. We started all the seniors either on offense or defense, so they would have a chance. Every senior have a chance to start one game in their career. So that was pretty cool. We were pretty happy with that. Justin Castro. Justin Castro has been quite the warrior for us. Both sides of the ball, he's the leader in the offensive line. Dryden Hernandez is our center and kind of guides some things, but Justin is really the leader there. He's coming off a knee injury. He didn't get to play last year. He was a guy that we were counting on being there last year, and unfortunately he injured his knee right before the season started, and it's been a long road back. And he's had that warrior grit. He decided, hey, I want to play, and I'm going to make it happen. And his work in the off season and during the season has been very admirable, and that'll carry him on later in life when he faces adversity. Caleb Fine, my heart goes out to Caleb. His mom's battling cancer, and we said a few words before the game, and Caleb's another kid. His role goes up and down as the season goes on. He sometimes he plays a lot at corner, and sometimes he doesn't get as much time. But he never wavers. He's at every practice. He's working hard. He's doing what he can, and he's on special teams, and he played some wide receiver last night, and just a great all-around kid. Bode Grimes, another new one to us. Bode has been a soccer player all his high school and middle school career, and he decided he wanted to give football a try this year. And, he knows he's not going to be top of the list on football skills because he hasn't ever done it before.
Right.
But I tell you what, he gives you 100%, and, again, wants to learn the game, wants to play. He's just a very bright and refreshing kid that we love to have on our program. And he got to start last night at wide receiver. Jacob Meek. Jacob Meek is what I call a program kid. He has not gotten an opportunity until senior year. He's plugged away. He's worked hard. He's played every role that, from running back to receiver to quarterback to, we've moved him all around to what we needed, and he has approached that with, just a great mindset, great attitude, just wants to get better, just wants to play, help the team win, and he's a great senior leader as well. Caleb Pratt. I know it sounds like a theme here, but another new guy to us. He played his freshman year and then didn't play his sophomore and junior year, and then came back out this year, and we're glad he did. He's really given us a boost at defensive end, and he's been starting the second half of the season at defensive end. And so that's his main role, but he's on special teams, and again, a great addition, a kid that's there every day, works hard, wants to learn more and more about the game and what he's supposed to do, and gives his teammates everything he's got. Logan Roberson. Logan's been in part of the program since his freshman year. He's worked really hard. He got a start last night, too. We've used him against Warsaw and against Mishawaka in our heavy line set. And, Logan, again, doesn't get all the accolades, doesn't get to start all the time. He just wants to play football. He just wants to be out there, part of the team, and, it's great to see him get some opportunities.
He's played an important role in the community. He does some Habitat for Humanity work.
Yeah. And that's, that's something above and beyond just football. And so, we're very proud of him doing that kind of thing, too. Then Cam Salazar, we talked about Cam. I can't say enough about Cam. Just kind of the kind of kid you put up and say, this is what we want you to strive to do. This is the kind of kid you want to be. Hardworking, great attitude, great effort. he exemplifies Warrior grit.
And he's all team. I mean, this is a kid who's, quite frankly, his main athletic role is as a baseball infielder, second baseman. He's hoping to get a baseball scholarship, but he is all team, man. He is about every kid on that team doing the very best he can.
He's a three-sport athlete.
Yeah.
And he's, a high-level three-sport athlete. He starts on the basketball team. He's an integral part of that baseball team. And that's probably his sport. And then football, he's a captain, and he's a big part of what we are trying to do. So he's a true measure of a Wawasee athlete. Then we have Robert Schmucker. And Robert's that guy with your hair on fire, just getting after it. I mean, he's our linebacker, and Robert knows one way, and that's full speed. And sometimes we got to tone him down in practice and things like that. And he's been playing with the cast the last couple of weeks. Had a thumb issue, and that's not slowed him down a bit. And so you love to have guys like Robert, especially on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker. He does a fantastic job for us, and again, just a kid that comes in with his lunch pail and works every day and works hard and, just wants to win, just wants to, do what he can to help the team out. And, you're going to have a lot of positive things happen when you got kids like that on your team.
That's a boy that does not understand anything other than full throttle.
Exactly. Hagan Slusher. Hagan was with our football program his freshman and his sophomore year. And last year, in the summer, he got hurt, conditioning, hurt his knee, and he was out for the season. So there's the second lineman we were counting on last year that could not play for us. And then towards the fall, they end up moving down to Tippy Valley School District, and he went to Tippy Valley last year. And they came back this summer. I believe they live in North Webster, but Hagan's been something that has helped our team as well. Not only giving us offensive line depth, he's a starter now on the offensive line, defensive line. Our offense and defensive line, we were struggling last year. We didn't have enough guys, and especially not enough guys with experience. And talk about losing Justin and Hagan, that hurt going into the season, and to have both of those guys back this year has been fantastic. It's helped us out immensely. And Hagan's just got a great attitude. He's smiling and kind of bubbly, and he's just a fun guy. Kids like to be around, and he's a good wrestler, and he uses that leverage to his advantage. And he's overcome injuries and had that warrior grit and just not given up. I think he told me one day he's had like 3 ankle surgeries, and he's had his knee. I mean, no kid that young should have that many surgeries.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's out there plugging away, fighting each play, and being a positive influence. And he's a positive influence on his brother, who's a junior, and he's always trying to pick him up and get him going. And he's been a delight to have on our team as well. Zach Smith. Zach has not had much of a role on our team until this year, and Zach's grown a lot. Tall and bigger. I believe he's 6'3", probably about 235. Big kid, and he has waited his turn, and he's got his turn. And as you mentioned before, got a touchdown last night. He had a touchdown in the Concord game, which was a big thrill. He mentioned in his senior note that his biggest thrill was catching his first touchdown pass against Concord. And so he tacked another one on last night. And he started defensive end for us all season. Just really brings a lot to the table and is making the most of his senior year. And then Parker Young, our quarterback. Parker, every quarterback probably gets too much credit and too much blame. And Parker's just been a steady guy, a guy that you can rely on. He's going to do his homework. He's going to work hard. If something's not going right, he's going to work hard to overcome it. He's also a great baseball player. I'm sure he's probably going to land somewhere with baseball. He's a catcher, and catchers in baseball, they're the general of the field, and he's the general of the field on offense. And last night was particularly great because he was pulling the offense in on his own and talking to them. He was getting the defensive fired up and telling offense ready, and things like that, and really rising to the top in his senior leadership, taking it to the next level. And you know what? When Parker's on, we're on. And he's been on the last couple games. I mean, he has been spreading that ball around and running when he needs to, and he has really stepped up his game again. He started off the season on fire. We ran into some tough teams there through the middle, and he's been on here at the end, and he also is making the most of his senior year and doing everything he can. So he not only brings us, the quarterback aspect, senior leadership, defense when we need him to. He is just a emotional and mental leader on our team, and a kid you can count on. Again, always be there, always do the right thing. Great student, does what he has to do to help the team win.
The seniors on the Wawasee High School football team who last night propelled the Warriors to a big victory over the Goshen Redhawks. This is the Coach John Reutebuch Coach's Corner here on 93.7 FM The Mix. Of course, the football players aren't the only ones out there on Friday night. There's lots of other people supporting Warrior football with particular roles that they play. We're going to talk about what some of those roles are. There's a whole lot of them. We're going to talk about that coming up next here on Coach's Corner on 93.7 The Mix and 937themix.com. And welcome back to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. Coach's Corner, the program of John Reutebuch and the head football coach of the Wawasee Warriors, coming off a huge win last night over those Goshen Redhawks. And Coach, part of the reason Wawasee has had the success athletically in general and in football in particular that it has had is because you've got so many different groups that play a community role, a supporting role for your football program. And maybe the best known of those groups is your Gridiron Club.
Yes, it takes a village. Literally does. And Jamie Meek has headed up our Gridiron Club this year, and she's done a fantastic job of organizing things. Everything from Subway meals for away games to blackout shirts to pregame meals. It sounds like we eat a lot. Football guys, young men, they do eat a lot.
They do.
Senior gifts. I mean, there's a whole lot of things, and it really helps me out immensely to take things off my plate. Running a football program takes a lot of time and effort, and those are all very important things. And if you got somebody helping you out with those, it makes a huge difference. And I can't thank her enough, and all the parents that have contributed to that. And Robert Schmucker's parents, making the signs, and there's a ton of other parents out there, helping her out. And Joe Salazar, he's helped us out with shirts and things like that. And I know I'm not mentioning everybody that I could and should. We'll do that at the awards program, but really appreciate the parents and the people that are part of that Gridiron Club that get it done for us. And
20 years ago, I had the opportunity to interview several of the members of the Penn High School coaching staff. And, of course, they went through a whole string where they won the state championship 8 or 9 years in a row. I mean, they really – it wasn't a program. It was a dynasty.
Yeah. And
I remember asking them what the real key to continued success was. And the first thing came out of their mind was their Gridiron Club.
Yeah.
The Gridiron Club really plays, people don't realize what kind of depth of role that Gridiron Club represents. It really is impactful.
Absolutely. And it's above and beyond, the community service, because they literally are doing it for the program, for the kids, and they just want to help out where they can. They get the big picture, how hard it is to put everything together. You got in our high school program right now, we got about 75 kids. That's a lot of kids to keep organized. And you talked about practice and organization and all the things you got to set up, and that aspect of it, probably not enough is said about that. And again, when you have fantastic support from parents and you got people taking care of those things for you and helping you out with those things, and it just helps your program run so much smoother and takes a lot off our plate that we can focus on just football.
Part of the kids that are a part of your program never get to wear a jersey. They're the kids that we call the managers, out there doing all kinds of important things for you.
You know, I don't know. I must be living right, because I feel like we've had the best manager crews the last 2 years, my first 2 years in the program, that we've ever had. And I've been around this program for 28 years, and I know we probably had some good managers here and there, but as a whole group, you know, these girls, they work their tails off just as much as the football players, and you know they're looking ahead. They're taking initiative of making sure things are taken care of and done. And you know, a lot of boys probably don't know that they stay late to get that laundry done. They come in early to make sure that they pull it out and get the next load in, and you know, they take care of all our equipment. And you know, I can't say enough about them. They're great girls to be around, and they work hard, and we had the same kind of thing last year, and this is a different crew. There's only one manager back from last year, and so it's been a delight. Jaden Stouter is our returning manager from last year, and she's kind of the head manager. Gloria Slaybaugh is a junior, just like Jaden, and she's been a welcome addition. She knows how to work hard, and just a delightful kid to be around. And then we have 4 freshmen. That's a lot of freshmen.
It is.
To be a part of the program, and every one of those girls do a great job. Jaden Rocha, Allison Burkett, Brittany Kidd, and Cadence Chupp. And those 4 girls, again, bubbly, delightful, pleasant, work hard, you know, just want to help out where they can, and appreciate all their efforts and work.
You've got those folks that are attached to the program that are out there working all the time, but then you've also got those who come in and have sort of a specialty job. Maybe they teach during the day, and that they come back and do all kinds of things that are necessary for the game, are seen by the fan, or the fan recognizes they're there, but it's like the utility. You know, NIPSCO's there, but you don't need them until you plug in something into the wall. You just don't recognize them until either something goes wrong, or until something has to happen right now. And they're there all the time. They got to be there the whole way through the game.
Well, every game doesn't operate without a timer, without a scorekeeper, without an announcer, without the chain gang. Supervisors are, you know, those people help things run smoothly. And you're right. I mean, unless they get the score wrong on the scoreboard, then everybody's yelling, "Hey, the score's wrong," or the clock's running too long. And you know, you only notice it when it's not what you are expecting to do, or the chain gang, you know, and all that stuff. And really appreciate the people that donate their time. And I know some of them get a little bit of a stipend, but it's not because of the stipend. They do it because they're community service minded, and they want to help out where they can. And we appreciate everything that they put into it every Friday night for a home game, to put on a production, basically a football game production.
One of the most difficult things I ever did, this sounds silly, but it's true. One of the most difficult things I ever did, I was the down marker guy. And this was youth football. This wasn't even high school football. This was youth football.
You probably got more grief doing youth football than you would on a Friday night.
I'm watching what's going on. I'm watching this. I'm watching that. I forget to move the down marker. Or those down marker things, I'd move it twice. We go from first to third down, and I wouldn't even know it because it's above your head, so you're not looking at it, right?
But I'm sure they were glad to help you out.
They were. I heard a lot about it.
A lot of suggestions.
Yes. But those guys, you got to watch all the time and be very aware of your role, and no one else is aware of your role until you make a mistake. It's a thankless job.
It is.
It really kind of is.
And you know, largely unseen. And like I said, those Friday night productions do not go off without their help.
You've got stat people, and I'll call them film people, although we don't have film anymore. It's very high-tech video. But you've got film and stat people who do things now that just a few years ago were NFL only. I mean, they're doing things with computers and high-end video that it takes an incredible amount of time, skill, effort. Unbelievable what your stat and video people are doing.
Well, I'm really aging myself here, but back when I was in high school, at least the early years, we switched to cassette tape, but they were still doing reel tapes. So I've seen that progress, and then it went to CDs, and now everything's online, a huddle program that everybody uses, and that's how we exchange film. I remember exchanging film, meeting a coach halfway between and at McDonald's and exchanging film on Saturday morning. That was one of my jobs, and you don't have to do that anymore. Matter of fact, some coaches are looking to exchange before you even play that Friday night of another team. Mm-hmm. They're looking for the next week,
that's
so
right.
They can analyze and break things down and everything. So whole new world. But you're right. In the past, we've gotten people to that come from the community, and with the whole COVID thing, we have put that on our freshman coaches. And Tyler Smith, one of our freshman coaches, does a great job. He's our stat guy this year, and he has an iPad on the sideline. He goes up and down the sideline and tracks everything from tackles to how many yards gained to how far that punt went and all those things, and does a great job with that. And you have that in real time. I mean, we can go in at halftime and I can say, what are the stats? What are we looking at? We're not rushing enough, or they got too many yards on us in this, or we get this many penalties. You can get that anytime, any place. And then after the game he just sends it off. I mean, it's that simple and that quick.
It's like an email.
Yeah.
Just hit send and bang, there it goes.
Absolutely. You just submit it. And it used to be you used to have to write on paper, submit the whole write-up. And you don't have to do all that anymore. And that saves a lot of time. And then video. Again, that has fallen to our freshman coaches. The end zone camera, which some people might wonder what that tripod pole back in the end zone, and every team has them. So there's usually two. But we have a coach operating that, and that gives you a view down the field. It's extremely helpful when you're looking at offensive line, defensive line, alignments, certain angles that you get that you don't get from the sideline. You can see things a lot more clearer. It's a great teaching tool. And then upstairs, we have one of our managers is actually doing the filming with an iPad. How crazy is that? From upstairs, and it's high quality. I mean, it's
better than we used to get when we'd haul 4 boxes and a whole bunch of cable up there.
Oh, absolutely, and it's immediate. We have something called Huddle Sideline where we have an iPad on the sideline. So the play just happened. I can literally walk over, rewind it to that play, and watch the play and see exactly what happened. And, offensive line, we come off, we didn't move the ball. Okay, the offensive line coach can come over there and see what's going on with the offensive line and point it out. Now, unfortunately, we're in a situation where a lot of guys are going both ways, so we don't have as much time.
The coach is there, the player isn't.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, that's where all the technology really helps you get things in real time that you can actually do something with that data or that film and make your adjustments. And so it's super helpful. And our freshman coaches, not only are they doing a fantastic job with our freshmen who are 5-1 and undefeated in the conference, by the way, and they didn't get to play every team in the conference either because they didn't have a freshman team or COVID situation, but they had a great season this year. They're actually playing Goshen today. JV and the freshmen are together, and they're taking a fifth quarter, and that's going to be kind of a cool thing for them all to be together because they're going to be teammates at the next level next year. So. Yep. Not only are they doing a great job with those kids, they're doing the extra things on Friday night to help us out, and stats and video, it's a big thing.
One of the things that's really changed a lot in the last few years is cheerleading, and that's a supporting organization to all the athletic programs at Wawasee. But now then, the cheerleaders that we have on the sideline are really dedicated to the school and dedicated to school spirit, maybe more than they used to be, because These girls are signing up for cheerleaders just for that purpose. That's it. That's what they do. And that's an important role too.
It is. It is. And again, it makes a difference. It helps when you have cheerleaders, especially when you're on the road. And unfortunately, with all the COVID restrictions, I know I keep bringing that up, but it's for real. It's a big part of what's going on this year. They are probably our loudest supporters. I mean, we need them, and we appreciate what they do for us. And
with the split between the competition cheerleading team and the school support cheerleading team, those girls are there for you and for the fans. That's the only reason they're there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, I'm sure it's a whole lot easier when you're cheerleading and you got a student body that reacts and you can go back and forth. And, unfortunately, our student body hasn't been able to be as much of a force as they have been in the past with all the restrictions and those kind of things. But they do a great job, and we really appreciate what they do for us and being there. That it helps lift the kids when they have support of the cheerleaders on the sideline.
A group that nobody ever talks enough about. You've got your transportation corps, your bus driver, other than Jeremy Van Loo, who's in it only for the cool yellow bus in his driveway. All those other bus drivers, they're out there working hard to deliver your program back and forth. And it's a lot more time than just the time on the road. I mean, they're spending probably double the amount of time than just the transportation time.
Yeah. Not only do you depend on them to be on time to get us there. I mean, this is a year where we have all our long trips. We went all the way up to Mishawaka, all the way over to Plymouth, and those are long trips. And so they're busting their butt to get there so they can get us there on time so we can do our warm-ups and everything. And so we appreciate them. And then, they stick around for the game and then take us home after it's over and getting the kids safely there and back and putting in that time on a Friday night, which, again, that's a community member doing something for the community. And we appreciate that. And that doesn't go off. We don't... Again, you talked about you don't notice it unless it's not there. I mean, if the buses, had a breakdown or something like that, that would be, a very difficult thing to overcome. And, we've been lucky in that regard. They know where they're going. They know the shortcut. They've avoided, any kind of obstacles like construction and things like that. And they've done a great job of getting us there on time so we can warm up and be ready for the game.
One group that's really expanded their relationship with the football program as of late is the band and drum line. They're really playing a more active role at the game.
Yes, the band's doing a great job, and I think that's a growing area for our school. Kind of the numbers have been down a little bit, and they're growing back up, and it's great to see and see what they're doing. And one of the band members approached me about, hey, what do you think if we did a little approach with the drum line and kind of give it a Florida State march in? And I said, yeah, that sounds great. And after we did it the first time, I'm like, that's really cool. We really like that, and we want to keep doing that. And so last night was another example. The drum line lines up in front of us and brings us out to the field, and then kind of gets that momentum going with the drums, and the kids run out on the field. And it's a really cool thing, and appreciate the band doing that. And, the band being at all the home games and playing. And again, one program supporting the other, and it's really good to have the kids together like that.
One area that school support and team support has reached into in the modern era, we never had social media programs, but you've got a really good one now.
Yeah, I have had Jamie Salazar on the program, and he does a fantastic job with our program and wrestling. He's a radio guy, and he's also a salesman, and he knows the ins and outs of everything. And so he is a good one to promote the program, and he has done everything from senior spotlights to coaches spotlights to getting pictures of the game, and last night holding up the Warhawk trophy, and just always a presence, talking to community members. Again, aging myself, going back to the day, there was no social media or anything like that. And it's a very real thing. Everything from our kids on social media to us getting information out, communication, what's going on, how can you get blackout shirts, those kind of things. And he does a fantastic job taking all that and getting that stuff out there for us. And that's a big part of our program. I mean, that was one of the things I learned right away when I first began. You have an idea of what you want. You have your framework, and then you kind of play that off of some head coaches that I knew, and that was one of the things they said. Make sure you got a guy in charge of social media, and I think we hit it out of the park with Jamie.
And maybe the group that has the broadest reach, from looking at the program 4 and 5 and 6 years into the future and scheduling games right down to the color of ink used on the popcorn boxes. The folks in the athletic department, your official athletic director, and all the folks in the athletic department, they're there all the time and have a view of the program that the only one that maybe has a bigger view of the program is actually you.
Yeah. Yeah. Brent Doty's been fantastic. I mean, whenever I bring anything to him, he's on it, and he takes care of it, and, really appreciate his efforts. And then Ann Ritchie is our secretary in the athletic department. And again, if I need something, grade report, I need some test scores and things like that to put a kid up for, academic all-state. I need to find out where this kid is in class so I can get to him. All those little things there to help us out, and, getting equipment, time changes. What's been a big nightmare for them is the whole limitation of tickets and how we go about that. Mm-hmm. And they've been bombarded with trying to figure that out. And I know there's some people out there that have been frustrated with the whole ticket thing, but I think they've done a fantastic job considering the chaos and the unknown that this whole COVID thing has brought us. And I really appreciate their efforts and how they support us. And I couldn't do it without them.
All the folks that work hard to make sure Wawasee Warrior football is the success that it is. We want to thank each and every one of you for what you do. When we come back, we'll take a look at next week's opponent, opening round of the IHSAA sectional as we travel to Northwood. That's next year on Coach's Corner with Coach John Reutebuch on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. And welcome back to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. Head football coach of the Wawasee Warriors, Coach John Reutebuch, with us as we talk about next week's opponent, the Northwood Panthers, as we travel to Northwood, Coach, to open the IHSAA football sectional.
Yes, we're excited about the opportunity to travel to Northwood and take on a solid program, a conference team. And I'm not sure how random these drawings are, but it's the exact same draw we had last year, going to Northwood for the first round of the sectional. So, last night's victory is what we wanted, and to build momentum going into the sectional. And, our message to our kids is we have everything to gain. They're have a better record. They have the well-established program. They're supposed to win, but that doesn't mean we are going to give it to them. We're going to go up there and give them a good football game, and hopefully our fans come out and watch us and pull off something that we can talk about for a long time.
We've seen Northwood already once this year. Tell us a little bit about their wing T style of offense.
It really keeps you guessing. You got to be, like with what we talked about when we talked about Warsaw and Mishawaka, you got a lot of moving parts, guys going different ways. And so the wing tee is kind of the same thing. They stretch you horizontal back and forth and a lot of fakes and things like that. And about the time you're all involved in that running game, all of a sudden they slip some guys out and they get behind you. And so, again, it's responsibility football. It's understanding what you need to do. You're 111. One of 11 guys' jobs out there, and they play hard. Coach Andrews has those kids playing hard every down, just going full speed all the time, and that's a credit to that coaching staff up there, and they play the game right. When it really comes down to it, The Northwood student, the Wawasee student, they're very similar kids. They really are. A lot of kids are friends. And so it really comes down to your mental preparation and what you believe and how hard you go at it. And so we're going to look to match that effort.
Do you think that seeing them for the second time this year maybe gives you the advantage?
In conference, when you've played the same team year in and year out, you kind of have a feel of what they're trying to do. And so, we played them already. We kind of have an idea of what they like to do. But, come sectional, there's always new little twists and turns, and there's no way to predict that. You can see what they're trying to do, and you try to take those things away. But, unfortunately for them, they're minus a major player. Newcomer, he got injured a few games ago. I'm not sure if it was even in a game. It might have been practice, but he, I'm sure, was a big leader and a senior threat on that team. But they have kids stepping up, and they got a big victory over Warsaw last weekend, which was probably shocked some people, but the coaches in the conference, it didn't shock because they knew they were capable with great effort that they could pull that off. And so, they don't miss a beat. They were down to a third string guy. Norm Sellers' boy was playing quarterback a couple games ago against Mishawaka. I mean, how many teams can still run effectively with a third string guy in there, and they just kind of plug in and keep moving on? And I believe they were up against Mishawaka 14-0 before Mishawaka got things going. So, again, credit to their program. The kids play hard, and a key member goes down and plug in the next guy. And so, lots of credit to their staff and how they play football. And that's where we want to be. And we can start with this sectional game up there.
You've got to be pleased going into sectional play with where your team is at right now.
I am. Obviously, the main thing we want to do is get a convincing victory against Goshen. That's what we wanted to do, and have all three phases of the game, making a positive contribution. We still got work to do. We got a lot of things to tweak. We got to look at, Northwood again. The first go-around, I don't feel like, and I don't think the kids feel like, was a true representation of what we could do. We started the game off just how we wanted to. We stopped them on defense, had the ball moving down the field in good field position, and unfortunately we threw a pick. And I think we hung our heads a little bit, and we didn't get it back together again until the second half. And by then, it's too late. And so I don't think they're 39-0 better than us. I think there's a lot of things we could have done better in that game. That was kind of, in every season, you kind of have that game where, things just aren't clicking right, and kids are a little flat for some reason. You always have that game, and you hope you can overcome that. And that was probably that game for us, that we had a little rut there for a little while. And I think Northwood's going to see a different team this time we play.
As a coach, you've got a real balancing act there with the positives coming off the Goshen win and the almost bulletin board material from the earlier Northwood loss. You've got to balance all that, and getting those kids in that right frame of mind is exactly what you're talking about. That's really the battle for this week, isn't it?
It is. That's bigger than the X's and O's. It's the mental approach. It's the believing you can win. Understanding that you have everything to gain, and they're not superior to you. They're playing good football, but if you raise your game and you play with the passion and effort that you did last night, and what you did in the first half of the Warsaw game, you can go out and beat anybody. And that's the way the conference is. Every time you go against another team in the conference, they're going to be well coached. Their kids are going to play hard, and you got to bring your A game. And we plan on bringing our A game, so it should be a good ball game next Friday night.
Northwood, a great place to go to watch a football game. It'd be fantastic if we could get 300 or 400 fans over there to fill the visitors' side of the Northwood bleachers. Andrews Field, just a great place to go to play a game, really.
Yeah, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. I mean, it's the next community over, and it makes a huge difference. The kind of fan base we have there, and when the fans are positive and cheering on when we make a play, kids feel that. They feel that momentum. We talked about the cheerleaders and the fans and student body and everybody involved. That really makes a difference for the kids, and we want to get that kind of support on Friday nights, and it really helps our players feel that momentum.
Are you going to change anything up for the week? I know some sports, the practice as you get to the end of the season changes significantly as you head toward tournament time. Any change on the football practice style or your schedule? Do you change anything?
I think a lot of teams towards the end of the year, you don't have as much full contact. Football is a physical game.
You're getting your share of it on Friday night.
Yeah,
you don't need to try and replicate that.
And over the season, you got that many games, and we played every single game. And so over the season, you have that many games. You have a little wear and tear. Every player on this team is sore. When you play hard, you're sore. And so, it goes to what we do today. They're in the pool workout, doing a pool workout to take that pressure off the joints, and they still got to move around and get that lactic acid out and get themselves so they're not tight and cramping up all weekend long. So we do that today, and we got them in the pool to kind of take that pressure off of them a little bit. Then we're going to watch some film, and then during the week, you try to lessen that physicality as much as possible. There's different tempos you go at in practice. There's full contact. There's thud tempo where you don't take them to the ground. You just kind of hit up and hold them there. And then you have, a more lighter tap off tempo where, you just tap them on the hip with your two hands to show that you were in the right place. And so I think a lot of teams lighten up a little bit on their tempos and not have as much contact because their kids are already kind of beat up and injured. And so we might adjust that a little bit this week. But as far as, kids are a product of routine. And so we're going to practice at the same time on Monday, even though we're on fall break. And that's another challenge. We have fall break on Monday, so kids aren't at school. And so, we're going to practice at the same time we normally would to keep them on that routine. And Mondays are mental Mondays. That's not as hard physically for them. It's more mental than anything else. And then Tuesday and Wednesday are our physical days. And then Thursday is pregame. And again, that is not quite as physical. It's more mental and kind of a dress rehearsal of the game. And so we already have that built in to kind of limit the physicality. But when you get towards the end of the season, you do also less individual time. You still do individual time. And when I talk about individual time, that's where you work on your technique and your fundamentals and the basics. If you don't have it by now, it's probably not going to happen.
So spend the time as being opponent-oriented.
Yes. Yeah. And so we do a lot more group work, the quarterbacks and the running backs together, or the receivers and the quarterbacks together, or linemen and the running backs together, working on blitz pickup and our screen game and things like that. And so that also changes as the season goes along. You still got time that you do work on some fundamentals and technique, but more of it's, putting more of the packages together, the groups together, and working together on what they need to do.
We're hoping to see you on Friday night at Andrews Field at Northwood High School in Napanee. You can get tickets through the Wawasee High School Athletic Office. They'll be open starting Tuesday morning. The student body has had a shot at those tickets already, which is as it should be. And so if you would like to go to that game, get with the athletic office starting on Tuesday, and they will have tickets for you for that contest. This has been Coach John Reutebuch's Coach's Corner here on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com on WRWTLP Syracuse.